Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the SaaS Flow Show. As always, I'm your host, Trent Deersmid. And I'm here to help you discover what is working for growing SaaS companies today. And the way that we do this is we shine a light on the tools, the tactics, and the strategies that are in use by today's leading SaaS entrepreneurs. On the show with me today is a fellow by the name of Casey Gauss. Casey, wave hello. Casey is the founder and CEO of Viral Launch, an Indianapolis-based tech company offering innovative software and creative services to Amazon sellers. Casey founded the company in 2014 when he was the ripe age of 21, and he's gone on to leverage his passion for tech, building cool things, learning, and helping others through the expansion of the company to over now 60 employees. He continues nose to the grind in his obsession with Amazon market philosophy, helping a growing number of Amazon businesses achieve success in the world's largest e-commerce space. And I want to add that I actually own an e-commerce business that is a Viral Launch customer, and I absolutely love the software. So Casey, very welcome to the show.
Hey man, thanks so much for having me. And yeah, that's cool that you are actually a customer.
Absolutely. Have been for a year or maybe even 2 years by now. So let's start off with talking about your company, the product, and some of the key stats that other SaaS founders might be interested in. But first, in your own words, what does your company do?
Yeah, so we've helped over 10,000 brands drive over $10 billion in sales on Amazon. And our focus is exclusively on Amazon. We have a suite of tools, software, and services to help walk you through kind of each of the different phases. So if you're looking to sell on Amazon for the first time, or you're a major brand looking to understand what markets to go after, we have tools for that. If you are looking to get your catalog on Amazon or get your listings on Amazon, we have tools to help you optimize that listing, make sure it's SEO optimized and ready to go to drive conversions. And then we also, like, once you have your product up on Amazon, you need help driving keyword ranking or managing your Amazon advertising, we also have tools and services for that. So really trying to take a broad perspective of the space.
When you launched the company in 2014, who was the target customer back then, and how has that changed now that we're in 2019?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we first launched, we were just focused on kind of the SEO side of things. And our target customer initially was, third-party sellers that sell on Amazon. So for those who don't know, about 58% of sales on Amazon come from third parties. And then the other 42% comes from kind of major brands or people selling directly to Amazon. And so our target customer was the third-party seller, probably just getting started on Amazon and a little more sophisticated. So people probably doing at least $5,000, $10,000 a month. And now, 2019, we work with kind of a broader range. So we work with third-party sellers, but we also work with first-party sellers. So some of these major brands, we have a Fortune 100 customer. And so now we have tools that fit I'm looking to get started on an Amazon segment, which we didn't have when we first started. We have tools to help you kind of really actually start getting your first sales. And then for those $1 million plus sellers, we have some great tools to help you kind of automate some processes, get some data that you need, and build up your advertising. And then, like I said, the first party sellers as well. So much broader range of people.
So these newer, larger customers that have come your way, did you go find them or did they come and find you?
So far, a lot of those brands have come and found us, whether it's SEO or they're just looking for a particular solution that we have.
Okay. And we'll dive into that a little bit more in the marketing portion of our talk. So I'm not forgetting, but I need to move on and cover some of the basics that we promised. Right. What does your pricing model look like?
So we have a few different pricing models. Our most popular is kind of a self-serve pricing model where it's all feature-based. So if you want access to, there's, basically 8 tools in the Viral Launch Launchpad. And if you want access to these 2 tools, you pay this amount monthly. It's a monthly recurring subscription, or you can pay annually to save a couple of months. Basically, you pay all up front. And so, yeah, we just have tiers that give you access to these different tools. There's one tool, our most recent one, which is our advertising tool. If you have multiple seller accounts connected to one Amazon account, then you can pay an additional fee. But almost all of it is self-serve, and you come and pay us. We do have a couple of managed services as well as creative services. So creative services like product photography or to write a listing, you just come pay us. There's a few different packages that you can get there based on what you want out of it. And then we have a managed services portion as well. And we charge that on a per product basis. So for each product that we're helping to manage, it's a fee on top of your normal VireLaunch subscription.
So on the subscription portion of your business, what does it all boil down to in terms of your average customer is paying an average of how much per month?
It's just over $100.
Over 100. Okay. And you launched in 2014, right?
Yep.
Was that when you started? Because initially you didn't have software, did you? You were more of a launch and promotion service. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, it was all managed through software, but yeah, it was basically a giveaway platform.
Okay. And then these days, obviously, the business has evolved a great deal. So how many customers do you have now? And I guess, no, you don't really have a freemium model. So there's no free customer. We don't need to delineate between free and paid, do we?
No. So yeah, we don't share specific customer numbers too much, but it's over 10,000 is what we do share.
Okay. And are you able to share MRR or a range of MRR?
Yeah, the range is we've eclipsed the 8-figure mark, so we're making more than $10 million ARR basically.
Okay. How about year-over-year growth rate?
Year-over-year growth rate, I think, has typically been around 200%. So we've a little more. Yeah, it's about 200% the last 3 years, almost consistently.
Really? So as scale gone up, you've managed to maintain that growth rate.
Yeah. The big driver there is we're constantly launching new products. And so these new products will, typically increase the MRR per customer, the ARPU, and then also opens us up to a little bit of a different segment. So we just launched an advertising tool. We have a lot of, people that were paying $190 or $99 a month now start paying $199. That also opens up to us to a different segment of customers. So we get a lot of new customers coming in at the same time. That allows us to really continue our growth.
And that as a customer of yours, that's one of the things that I've actually found quite remarkable is the frenetic pace with which you bring new features to market. How the hell do you do that? I mean, how big is your dev team?
We have 16 engineers. That's continuing to grow, but yeah, we're really focused on continuing to increase the value and just stay on top of the changes of Amazon. I appreciate it.
So you're telling me that those 16 people have been responsible for all these new products that I've seen come to market in the last 12 months?
Yeah.
Man, that is, you've got something going on right in the development department to be able to, I mean, just your keyword tool, how many folks had to write code for how long to make that product available for sale?
Yeah. So the keyword tool was
the pay-per-click advertising tool. My bad.
Oh, the PPC tool. Yeah. I mean, that was probably, maybe 8 developers, at least, sometimes more, for us to really hit some of our key dates. But at least I would say 4 developers, probably 6 to 9 months, at least 8 developers for 3 to 4 months. So a good amount of time. And one strategy, if it's helpful, that we've taken is we haven't hired any junior devs. So we've almost primarily focused on senior devs. So these are, in all of our dev team is here in the U.S. Actually, everyone's in the state of Indiana. We're hiring people that move fast, really understand things. So there's not a lot of training. One person helping pull the other person up. We've been able to build a very strong dev team.
And I would imagine that those are all 6-figure salaries to get folks at that level of experience.
Yeah.
Okay. In the intro, I read that, or in your bio, I read that you had 60 employees. Is that still the accurate count?
It is. I think we just crossed 70.
About 70? Okay.
Yeah.
How about fundraising? Have you raised money?
We have the summer of 2018. So yeah, we were bootstrapped up until about 45 people, 50 people or so. And then we raised a little under $1 million last summer, just to get some strategic people on board. And then at the beginning of this year, we closed our Series A, which was $7.3 million.
$7.3 million. That's a big raise.
Yeah.
So you were profitable before you did either of those raises, I'm going to guess.
Yep. Yeah. We were profitable up until about kind of December of 2018.
Okay. and cash flow positive at the same time, or were you burning?
Yeah, no, cash flow positive.
Okay. So why, from a strategy perspective, what was the thinking? Why go raise money? Because there's a whole bunch of, there's lots of stories in the Valley about, raising money and CEOs getting kicked out or getting diluted or only 5% when the IPO happens. There's a lot of negative things that can happen when you raise. Why'd you do it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all good questions. I actually, now looking back, wish that I would have raised sooner. You know, so the reason we did it is we wanted to be able to move faster. We wanted to be able to make some bets. I would say that our biggest strong suit is kind of creativity and innovation in terms of how we think of the Amazon space and how we can bring solutions to our customers. And so we wanted to be able to take more of these big bets, but the big bets, come at a cost. When you take 5 engineers and put them on this new thing that could be really big but also could be nothing, that's 5 engineers that you're taking away from driving revenue this quarter basically. So we wanted to bring in more money to help us to basically cover some of the lack of growth in some short-term areas, or lack of growth at the same rate, so that we can focus on some more kind of longer-term bets. Also, it's very difficult to build an organization that is focused on serving, these non-enterprise brands is completely different from an organization that can serve enterprise brands. I mean, our customer service is all in-house, versus because people want to talk on the phone. We have to go visit our customers and do quarterly business reviews with them. And so building out a sales team is, different. Building out a customer success team that is very capable. These are all expensive things. And to move the organization from over here where we can serve these non-enterprise brands to being able to serve both is pretty difficult. It takes some time and you have to bring in the right people to do so. I wanted to make sure that we had the money to bring in the leadership team that we needed in order to get us there. And so the leadership team, a lot of times are a good 6-figure salaries that you're paying. And so, I wanted to make sure that we were comfortable there. I'm also a little bit afraid of what will happen in the event of a downturn in the economy. I don't know how Amazon fares and how Amazon sellers fare exactly. So just making sure that we have cash is always important.
So if I read between the lines a little bit in what you've just told me, it sounds like you have raised money to fund your ability to move more into the enterprise space and get more of those big brands as customers. And to do that, you think you're going to need a sales team, and they're probably going to be expensive.
Yep. That's maybe reason 1 or 2. And then the second biggest reason is just to be able to accelerate some of our product innovation, I would say.
Yep. Okay. And you mentioned in that answer that you wish you would have raised sooner. Now, there's a downside to raising sooner, is you're going to get diluted more because you don't have as much revenue or earnings or the key metrics that investors are looking for. So now you have hindsight to your benefit. You say, I wish I would have raised sooner. Why?
So I think I was very kind of, I think there's a little bit of an ego side to, I thought it was super cool that we were profitable, 40-some employees, and bootstrapped off of a $700 investment. Like we put $700 into the business and we were able to get it here. Just, pretty cool.
Yeah.
And being young and being able to do that. But the reason I wish that we would have done it sooner is I wish that we would have accelerated some things sooner. We did make some bets that didn't exactly pay off, which slowed down some of our short-term goals and hurts. It hurts when you invest, call it a few $100,000 into something at the very least, which we actually probably invested quite a bit more, and then it doesn't pan out. So we needed money to be able to fund that, but also fund the short term, and we didn't focus enough on the short term. So I wish that we would have done that. And ultimately for me, this is, Viral Launch is a lot more about learning how to build a company. And me personally, from kind of, yes, I have less equity. So therefore, in the event of liquidity, I'll get less money. This isn't so much a money play for me as it is really learning how to build a business and really building something that, I'm proud of and that's having a significant impact in the world. And bringing in money, even diluting myself helps me to do the latter a lot more, which is what I care about a lot more. So
for the SaaS CEOs, self-included in this camp, who are thinking about, should I raise, should I not raise, when should I raise? If you were to offer some advice on questions to ask yourself or how to think about that, or whatever type of advice would you give, what would it be?
My advice would be, it's easy to feel cool. It depends on who you are. You can feel cool by bootstrapping a company and, being very proud of that. You should be. But it's all, some people also kind of are enamored by big raises. I think that ultimately, as the CEO, you need to focus on hitting the goal. The coolest thing is you hitting the goal, the exit, the win, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you should not let your ego or your thinking of temporary cool, short-term cool get in the way of helping you hit that goal. And so if that does mean less equity then for you, the coolest thing is hitting that goal and building your resume and everything that you're going to be able to accomplish by kind of hitting that goal. And I wasn't as focused on hitting that goal. I thought I could hit that goal if I didn't and raise money. But the probability of hitting that goal is a lot higher with raising money, for me at least. It's not the case for everybody.
Mm-hmm. So you've taken, as a Series A, you've taken you've venture capital money, professional money into your organization now. Is that right?
Yeah, the money that we took was from a family fund. So it wasn't like the same as kind of traditional VCs for a number of reasons, which I think has definitely worked in our favor.
I think actually you and I maybe talked about that when we were talking offline, because now that you mentioned family fund, I remember. Yes. And so if you didn't have the option of the family fund, would you have taken the money from venture capitalists knowing that that's a different beast to get into bed with?
Yep, we would have. Again, I really want to get to the end goal. And I think that some of the VC stuff would have helped us. I don't think that it would have been detrimental. Granted, I'm not in that situation, so I don't know specifically. I think we would have. Our number 2 pick was a VC fund. For us, some other advice, or if it's helpful for us, we're in Indianapolis. There's a lot of people that are very excited about raising money in the Midwest and talking about Midwest funding Midwest and so forth, and a lot of kind of pride around that. For us, we've taken no money from people that are in the Midwest. It's only been people on the coast because raising money is difficult here. And, we were doing $200K a month in revenue at one point, and there were people here in Indianapolis that were like, concerned and weren't interested in putting any money into the business. After bootstrapping it, I was very turned off from that. But we have those conversations on the coast and people are like, oh my gosh, yeah, we'd love to be a part of this. So it's very different.
Yeah, no doubt it is. All right, we're going to shift now into part 2 of our conversation, which is growth strategies. We're going to talk about marketing and so forth. So, and again, because your company has been around and has really kind of expanded its target customers, you can give multifaceted answers to these questions. So customer acquisition systems, tell me about what you did initially, how that shifted, and what you think you're going to be doing in the future.
Yeah, one of my biggest mistakes early on was that, I never really focused on marketing or customer acquisition because there were other things that I wanted to build. I didn't feel like we had like the complete product or offering that I wanted to be able to provide, but it was like stuff that was very far out. And I felt like I was selling a half solution without those other pieces. And so I didn't want to specifically sell. Which was a huge mistake. There's always going to be things that you want to build or add to your product. But if you're really driving value, then you have something to sell. And really selling is about kind of connecting a need for a customer and the value that you're able to provide. And I just really didn't understand those things. So for the first 2-3 years, we did pretty much kind of no marketing. Outside of maybe going to events really. And we were just super lucky that we grew like completely organically. For the first couple of years, we weren't writing any blog posts. Like we were doing pretty much no marketing. It was just all conversion that's happening on our site, and it was all word of mouth. So for us, it was just having a great product, a great price. Like I was very focused on making sure like we're in a very price sensitive market. So I was constantly making sure that we had a better, there's the triangle of the 3 things that you can do. It's like price, quality, service. Mm-hmm. But we were really able to kind of win on all 3. the quality was absolutely there. Our price was definitely the lowest. And I focused to make sure that we had a really good support team, customer success team, because that's what people wanted. And so we were just, able to kill it. And there were a few solution providers in the space. And so we just won because people loved our service, and it's a very high word of mouth kind of market. So we won early days because of that. Now things are quite a bit different. So, in 2018, we really started tapping into influencers in the space, people that are teaching other people how to sell on Amazon and so forth, because we knew we had a better product, and we could build relationships with these sellers, and we wanted to these influencers, we wanted to come alongside them to help them be successful in their goals. We were able to do that. So influencers, even to date, have been kind of a big influencers / partners, I would say, have been a huge channel for acquisition for us. And, they remain so. And I think that will only continue to grow. And then kind of in our space, at least, really the key, the crux of, I guess, marketing, customer acquisition, customer nurture, building relationships with customers is education. In our space, people want to know the best tactics for selling on Amazon. They want to be successful. And so we really kind of just come alongside them from an education perspective and say, hey, you need help finding products to sell on Amazon. Well, here's a few different videos for different approaches to do so. Hey, you want to know the best strategies for ranking or managing your PPC? And then we come alongside them with education. We do that, we get that in front of people, whether it's webinars that we'll do, Facebook Lives, where we'll just run through some of our tools, going on other podcasts. We have a podcast, which I would say everyone should at least try out. Our podcast is probably our most dedicated, most loyal group of followers. So we really try to stay consistent with our podcast, because it's a great way of me connecting with the audience, if you will, and helping them get some insight into the company. And yeah, I mean, the social, email, and ads are some other strategies that we use to get our education in front of our customers and then work them through the process.
Okay. So you're doing content marketing, SEO, podcast, video, obviously leveraging social media in all of that. If you had to pick just one that is the most effective in terms of, I guess, lowest cost of customer acquisition could be one way of looking at most effective. Yeah. Or volume of new customers could be another way. What would be your favorite? Or
what I would do is I would just put together some really good trainings, whether it was written or video, and then I would use email to just continue to provide that value to the email list, the customers, and then I would rely on word of mouth from there to bring more people into that value.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Blended cost of customer acquisition. Do you know what that number is off the top of your head?
Blended cost. I said that we don't share.
So it's interesting that you say that, because I actually just interviewed the guy, the founder of a new company called Sheets and Giggles, and he had the same answer. And I said to him, so let's just assume, for sake of argument, that it was $75. I said, how would knowing that number give your competitors an advantage over you? Because I'm curious, it's an arbitrary number, but you're not explaining exactly how you're getting to that number, which would be, to me, the secret sauce.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. The reason, I guess, traditionally we haven't shared is just, competitors being able to walk that back, essentially. I share something here, and then there's something on our blog or something, and I don't know. So, yeah.
So your fragmented interviews across the internet, they're going to listen to them all, take really good notes, and reverse engineer your strategy.
No, I know there's some paranoia in there, but
that's okay. I'll let you off the hook. How about this one? How many months to get your money back for whatever your customer?
Usually it's on transaction.
So first order.
Yeah.
Excellent. And that was something that that Colin from Sheets and Giggles said. He says, Trent, I live in a world where I must be profitable. I live in a world. I run my business with the mindset that we must be profitable on transaction number one, assuming that we're never, ever going to get another transaction, even though we always do get transactions and we have ways of increasing the order value and so forth and so on. Yeah. And it was a brilliant interview. Actually, you probably would quite enjoy it. Out of all the people I've interviewed on my show, Colin, one of the brightest by far, and I'm talking hundreds of interviews now.
Dang,
So
that's cool.
that'll be coming out soon. Lifetime value of a customer. What's that look like?
We yeah, we don't share LTV either. I will just say kind of on the transaction piece, we've gone through stages where we've dipped, and we've said, okay, we want to spend above, let's just say, we want to push it to 2 months. So we're spending so much to acquire customers that we'll push it to 2 months or a month and a half, let's say.
Yeah.
And that's been great for us. But there's times where we say, okay, let's bring that back because we're doing a good job in new customer acquisition, and let's make sure that we have cash to do some of these other things.
Yeah, fair enough. Balancing of priorities and a finite amount of money. How about
Yep.
churn? What does churn look like for you guys?
Yeah, we don't normally share churn. It's really dependent on who you are, what your objectives are, and what tools that you're using. So churn on our advertising tool is quite a bit different because typically, someone that is using our advertising tool, they have a business and they're looking for a sustained solution versus someone that comes in and they're just buying some of our research tools.
Yeah.
That's a customer who they're going to use it to find their next product idea. It's going to take 30 to 60 days. And then they are going to spend the next 30 or like 90 days basically getting the product, getting it into the States, testing it out, finding the right supplier and so forth. And our tools don't exactly help with that segment. But then we see those customers come back for the rest of their Amazon journey. Okay. So churn is definitely different depending on who you are and which products.
Now, you've talked a lot about the importance of customer service and word of mouth and so forth. So you must have some really great customer success systems. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
We do from a pure kind of tools perspective. What are we doing? So we have intercom. So we have some SLAs on the customer experience side, where our goal is to have 90% of chats replied to within 8 minutes. And usually we're about 100% of our chats come in, we are engaging within 8 minutes. I think it's closer to 4 minutes at this point. And then on email, our objective is 80% of emails are replied to within 4 hours. And we're usually well below that as well. So we also have 24/7 customer support, phone support, I think until 10 p.m. during weekdays. And I can't remember, 6 p.m. during the weekends. So we've invested a good amount to make sure that our agents are able to talk to you on the phone. Again, it's all people here that we're able to get back to very quickly. There was a time where we launched one of our new tools. We didn't have someone really owning customer success. And we would come in and there'd be 400 emails in our inbox for the day. And we would leave and there's 300 emails still there. And we had 5-6 people working full time just trying to churn through those emails. And it's disheartening, it was very difficult. It was very stressful. We didn't have weekend support. We didn't have night support. And so, we got in a VP of customer success, which is really, with no more agents, actually we have fewer agents now. We're able to manage the same amount of volume or higher. But our SLAs are, 8 minutes on chat and 4 hours on email. So it's just been incredible.
How do you enforce the LAs? Do you have real-time dashboards on monitors in the bullpen that turn bright red and flashing lights go off when an SLA gets violated, or what does it look like?
No, we don't. So we have a whiteboard where we're posting weekly stats and we'll post kind of the top agents, but the agents themselves right there in Freshdesk, they're able to see a lot of that information themselves. And then, if anyone is kind of exceeding that, then our customer experience manager, obviously we'll talk to them to make sure everything is going well. And then we have kind of CSAT SLAs as well, customer satisfaction SLAs as well. So those are big. So Intercom is huge for kind of the chat function, and that helps a lot. They also have an answer bot feature where the bot will try to answer the question, and I think you pay $1 per properly answered question, which is great. So part of it is just getting in front of the customer. So we have app queues, and we do use Intercom as well to help people walk through the different features and functionality of the tool to kind of cut down on that. We do spend a decent amount of dev product time to solve issues kind of at the root, so that instead of just answering these questions on the back end, let's make it so that customers don't even have that question. And then thirdly is Full Story. So Full Story is this really cool tool. It's basically like DVR for your customers for your customers. So basically, I can plug in your email to Full Story, and then I can watch like I'm watching on a TV how your mouse is moving and you navigating through the tools. And so basically, if someone comes to us and they say, hey, there's a bug here, there's an issue, we plug in your email, we can look up like that session, basically watch what happened, and then basically report that to the dev team, or will help you walk through the rest of the journey.
Very nice. I like it. Can you give any color on what type of systems you're using to reduce customer churn?
Yep. There's a few different things. So intercom, obviously, to hit people at the right time. So if you do this action, we send a pop-up message that says, hey, it looks like you're having trouble, or hey, it looks like you need help with this, or hey, have you done this? Kind of to really make sure that the customer is engaged and actually getting the value out of the tool, which is great. We use Active Campaign as kind of a nurture tool as well, just to make sure that so Active Campaign is our current email service provider, basically. And so anyways, we have, these drip flows to make sure that you're constantly getting value and you're constantly engaged with the tools. Just talking with customers and building that relationship is huge for reducing churn. There's a tool that we use called ProfitWell. So ProfitWell, part of the churn is just due to credit cards kind of expiring. And so ProfitWell will go through to make sure that that's not happening, or just at the right time as they pitch, they'll reach out to customers to say, hey, your credit card is about to expire at this date. In order to continue getting value, update your credit card, which that has actually been very helpful. And then education. I mean, just putting out education, doing Facebook Lives is so important for helping customers to understand the full value of your tools. When you launch new features, new products, engaging with them and providing new education, I would say are the biggest things that we're doing to reduce churn.
Okay, we're now going to transition into part 3, which is all about leadership, people, and process. So your company is obviously growing very quickly, and congrats, tip of the hat to you for doing that. How have standard operating procedures played a role, if at all, in your ability to scale at the rate that you have?
Yeah, so my natural tendency is not like, I'm not a process person, or my mind just doesn't work that way. So bringing in the right kind of managers and leaders to make sure that we are getting those things in place that have been crucial. So I gave the example of customer experience where we were getting back to people, 48 hours later, and it was just a mess. So our VP of customer success, coming in and putting SOPs in place for how we're going to kind of walk through that entire process and what tools and systems we're going to use in order to deliver that effectively, have been game changer, night and day. I'd say that our customer experience has gone from kind of some of the worst to now some of the best. Obviously in my opinion, the best. But anyway, that's been big. On the engineering side, SOPs have been big as well, just because we were moving so quickly, and now at 16 people, everyone's trying to push new code and so forth, and we really needed to get a strong kind of procedure in place to make sure that we're not stepping on anyone's toes and high quality code is going out. So for us, it's been crucial. There's a point where we went from 20 to basically 50, 60 people in 9 months. And that was very difficult because we didn't have the right systems in place. And so we really had to kind of take a breath after that big jump in growth, and some things were breaking or not going well, and really go back and put some of those SOPs in place and just,
All right. And a shameless self-plug for those of you who are listening to my show for the first time, that's the SaaS that I own. It's called Flowster, lives at flowster.app, and it is a workflow and process automation tool that my companies could not live without. All right. So speaking of employees, let's see, we've already answered that one. The question of employees that are in engineering versus employees that are in sales and marketing. So just give a percentage for each.
Yeah, so there's 9 people in sales and marketing. I don't know the exact percentage, and then 16 in engineering. So sales and marketing it's about split. I think there's 5 people in sales, 4 people in marketing.
Okay, so 9 and 16 only adds up to 25, and you've got 70. Where's everybody else?
We have creative services. We have a PPC management team. We have a decent customer success and customer experience team. I didn't include product on the engineering side. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot about the creative services team and the managed services team. Unusual for a typical SaaS company. And yeah, I can see how that would take a lot of bodies.
Yeah.
So tell me about how you are attracting or finding new employees, because having the right people on the bus is obviously pretty darn important.
Yeah, absolutely. So my natural tendency is to kind of fly under the radar, do my own thing. But recently, we've been getting some really good press in Indiana. So like this year, there's kind of the Tech Awards of Indiana. Fire Launch won one. I won one as kind of rising entrepreneur. And so there's kind of a story being created about Fire Launch in the ecosystem here in Indy. And so we've been able to attract. We just landed a VP of product and engineering. He was the CTO of a startup here that sold to Salesforce for $2.5 billion. So like, the fact that Indianapolis is relatively small, there's not too much going on here, and we've been able to start to create a name for ourselves has really helped us get some high level leaders here, which is really cool. I think your culture speaks a lot. So helping people that are looking from the outside in terms of what is this company about and what value can I provide, making sure that that's crystal clear both to your customers as well as potential employees is super, super important. But yeah, I mean, local PR, we have a great careers page that I think is doing well for us. And then sometimes, depending on the role, we'll use some recruiting agencies to go and find some of those senior developers, or if we need someone to come lead the marketing team or whatever, we've used some agencies as well.
So there's a book that I read earlier this year called Vivid Vision. It was written by the COO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK, which you probably have heard of them. They grew up, they're from my original hometown, Vancouver, and have obviously been extremely successful. Particularly interesting and valuable in terms of painting that vivid vision for over a 3-year window of time, which I think from a recruiting employee's perspective is incredibly important. So if you haven't read it and you like reading business books, maybe put that one on your list.
Nice.
So let's talk a little bit about the interview process. Is there anything special, unique that you've learned or acquired along the way to make the interview process easier, less painful, more effective?
Yeah, so a good friend of mine, he was here early on at Varlaunch. He has a tool called Qualify. And so basically it automates some of the interview screening process. It's difficult to kind of connect with someone at the right time, a candidate at the right time, or to do it at volume. So Qualify is really cool, is a really cool tool in terms of streamlining that process. But outside of that, basically, so some things that I would think would be valuable to highlight. One, I mean, just hiring is so difficult. We've definitely made our fair share of mistakes, and it's tough. We always do a skills-based assessment. So it's so important to do, for engineers to do a coding test, that's very straightforward. Photographers to do a product photography test is very straightforward. But, I think pretty much every role, there should be some kind of test where you're able to see their ability to write, or if they need to be focused on creative, their ability to understand and identify good creative versus bad creative, whatever it may be. There does need to be some kind of skills-based assessment where you can really get a feel for that person. One thing that I like to do is for hires that I'm involved in, I will walk them to Starbucks, which is like 2 blocks away. We'll grab coffee and we'll talk. I think getting outside of that typical work environment. So, I'm younger, I'm less formal, and getting them into a less formal environment lets me see them a little bit more. And, you get to learn a lot about the people that complain about having to walk 2 blocks, or the people that are, just really let their guard down and start sharing kind of who they are. And sometimes that's great because you really get to see, wow, this person is an amazing fit. Sometimes you see that they're not an amazing fit. And I think kind of just breaking up that cycle, they're less nervous, I think is very helpful. And then obviously doing reference checks, like you cannot, you just should not be hiring without reference checks. And for us, I make sure that I'm at least, so I interview everybody, and I am kind of the last stage for a lot of the hires that aren't, where I don't really need to be involved in. I think the most important piece is what happens afterwards, though. So I think day one, you really have to set the tone, and you need to be pushing them outside of their zone of comfort, because you need to let them know, hey, we're a company that works hard, we move fast, and we're going to push you to be a better version of yourself. And setting that tone day one is so important, because if you're not ready for them, they come in and they don't really have that much to do. That's the tone that you've set, and now their expectation is that they're going to clock in, they're going to go through the motions, they're going to clock out. And then kind of just really setting expectations well is so important, because if you don't set expectations well, they're not doing a good job. Then like you have to go through this entire process of setting expectations, giving them a warning, and then if it doesn't work out, ultimately letting them go. Right away, you need to set expectations, push them hard, and very, very quickly you should know this person is going to be an amazing asset, or this person is not going to be an amazing asset, in which they shouldn't be a part of the team.
So are there any systems you're using, like EOS, Entrepreneur's Operating System, or the Great Game of Business, or Open Book Management, or any of the things that are available in the market today that you're using in the company?
No, not really. We have our own kind of version of EOS that we use kind of for the leadership team and for performance management, but nothing specifically out there.
Okay. All right. Before we get into the 5 quick facts questions, which will be the end of our time together today, is there anything that I haven't asked you that if you were eavesdropping on this conversation, you think, oh, I wish Trent would have asked Casey whatever?
Yeah, this is my favorite question of yours. No, not that I can really think of. The hardest thing that I'm really learning now is just making sure that you're balancing the short term of, driving revenue and growth and staying on top of the market short term, as well as the long term, looking ahead and skating to where the puck is going to be, as a guy on the team would say.
Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky's the guy on the team that said that.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Wayne Gretzky's quote, I think is just great. It's hard. It's very difficult to do both.
Yes, indeed it is. All right, 5 quick facts, short questions, short answers. Favorite business book or business book that you are reading right now?
Favorite book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, nice. Okay. Favorite online tool that you use on an almost everyday or everyday basis to help run or grow your business?
Google G Suite is amazing. The tool that nobody knows about is called Better Touch Tool. I have a Mac, and there's a lot of shortcut keys and stuff that I have on there to really improve kind of my efficiency as I'm on my laptop.
So I use a thing called Text Expander or something like that. So instead of typing my email over and over and over again, I have like a little 3-letter thing, and then I type that and it types out the email. Is it like that, or does Better Touch Tool do something different than that?
It does something different. So you can really customize basically your Mac. So I have my mouse speed set above the normal setting, so that I can just move about very quickly. It's small things that add up. For example, switching tabs. So I will sometimes just use my laptop with one hand. So I can switch tabs. I usually have a lot of tabs with, you can set custom keyboard shortcuts. You can set custom shortcuts on your touch bar on your Mac. So yeah, it's a lot of kind of usability things that just make me more efficient. Because if you change tabs 200 times a day or whatever, just in the 10 hours that you're on your laptop, it adds up.
Yep. Hours of work per week. And let's quantify this, because I had somebody the other day include their time in the gym because they were thinking about business as hours per work per week. Let's say hours of work where you're sitting in front, because we're knowledge workers, sitting in front of your computer or in a meeting or something that's directly related to work, not the thinking time.
I put down 80. Sometimes it's actually quite a bit more, which is tough. Almost never under 80. Yeah. Last night I was up till 3 something, just working. So yeah.
My goodness, man. Family situation. I'm guessing you don't have kids yet.
No kids yet. That's intentional. I'm married. And so we have a lot of conversations making sure that she gets the time that she needs. But she's super, super understanding.
Okay. What do you wish your younger, not that you're that old yet, but what do you wish your younger self knew? And so we'll quantify younger self by early 20s. How old are you now anyway?
I'm 26. So basically, I wish in high school I would have known how hard people were working. And then secondly, that you can really do anything that you put your mind to. It's so cool, the things that I've seen people accomplish, friends of mine that have been able to accomplish. And you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You just need a combination of right place, right time, right idea, and just really hard work. I worked hard, but I could have worked a lot harder.
Funny coming from a guy who works 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I ever saw you was at a conference a couple of years ago. You were on stage and I was on stage after you. And I think I kind of threw you a little bit under the bus for how much you worked.
You did, yeah.
You know, because I didn't know you or what you'd accomplished. So apologies for that, but I'll tell you,
No
man,
worries.
when you have kids, the picture will change.
And that's why we're trying to hold off just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, folks, the company is Viral Launch. The founder is Casey Gauss. The success story is nothing short of phenomenal. Casey, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks so much, Trent.